Well, we actually, I was watching that game, and it didn't look good when he went. So had a couple guys do that, so it looked like the same motion. So you just really feel for the kid, and our staff, some of our players know him pretty well. That not only a terrific player, but he's a terrific person. So you hate. That's part of sport. You absolutely cringe, and you hate seeing that. So hopefully things will go well, and he can get back and get to playing the way that he was playing, because he's a tremendous player.
The basketball standpoint, that certainly will change the approach to this game, won't it?
Well, obviously we have no idea what they do differently. It won't change our approach. It's one of those deals when somebody gets hurt, it's next man in, and that's what all good programs do. And there'll be somebody that they're going to implement that has been waiting for their chance, and so that's always a scary deal because you don't have as much information on those individuals. So we have no idea if they'll tighten the lineup up or tighten what they like to do, but we've just got to prepare in the next 2 days for us getting better, and if we can get better, it gives us a chance on Thursday.
First Pac-12 road trip. I mean, what's kind of the idea for you, preparation going into this? Well,
it gets us on the road, which just because of our schedule, we haven't been on the road much. We've had one true road game, and that's at Missouri. So that's what's the most anxious that we are as coaches, is that we haven't had a lot of experience with this team on the road. So they've got to learn quickly. We can use our trip to New York, we can use our trip to Vegas, we can use our trip to Missouri, and we've got to move from there. But you're in that part of the season where it's important to start getting some road wins. And we're going to 2 places. Colorado has had great fans; they've been selling out. The program's doing outstanding, so that's a tough one. And then Utah, I've been there plenty of times when they were in the Mountain West, and that's a difficult place to play. So it's 2 hard, difficult places to play, and we've got to go this week and do everything we can to try to get a win or 2.
What do you usually watch for to try and keep the team focused on the road?
Keep things consistent. We've always been able to do that. I think that's part of the reason why the success that we had at New Mexico. We kept things very consistent on the road. We don't change things up. From pregame meals to what we do with films to what we do with walkthroughs to how we practice. We try to keep that as consistent as possible. And sometimes you get a little bit more focus on the road because you've got them together. They're not in class. It's not their normal ritual. So you get to be around them a little bit more, and sometimes that can be a positive.
What did you see out of Zach, especially in that last game, that showed you maybe he's kind of turning a corner, I guess, especially this season?
Well, he's been awfully good. As a freshman, he's done a lot of positive things for us, and coming off the bench, he gives us a huge boost offensively. And as I've told him, that's the ebb and flow of understanding how coaches now look at tapes. You got off to a great start, so what that happens, you become more of a focus for opponents, and now you're getting better opponents guarding you. You're getting more schemes thrown at you. So studying tape, concentrating a little bit harder. For whatever reason, I thought in this game he was much more aggressive, and he worked really hard at getting himself open and taking good shots. And when he takes good shots, he makes a lot more than what he misses, and it was good to see him get out of the gate and play well in that first half.
What have you seen so far from him on defense so far this season?
Who's Zach?
Zach, yeah.
Oh, I think he's been really good. He's got great footwork. He gets his arms out. He's got good length. He's athletic. I thought he did a really good job in this last game, as did all the guys, of just making sure Carson stayed in front of us and we were able to build a fort and get our defensive scheme set. But Zach's improving every day and doing a great job at that end.
Do you have to think about giving him a few more minutes at some point? Or do you like where he is now?
I like how things are going right now. Norman was awfully good. Bryce has been incredibly steady and very, very good, although different positions. Kyle can swing. Kyle didn't play much of the 2 or 3. Kyle's pretty much playing our point guard or our big 4-guard lineup. So really you're just looking at Norman and Zach and Jordan rotating in that 2-3 spot. And all 3 of those guys, you look at what they're doing, they play awfully well, and so I don't think that's a rotational change very much.
The job Zach was able to do on Jahi, is that something you could see going forward? With his length, being able to guard opposing point guards is an advantage for you guys?
Oh, it definitely helps. That definitely helps to have multiple guys and different ways that we can guard. Both if you look at Zach, Norman, Bryce, these are 3 guards that can guard the point position, but they can play off guards. They can guard off guards as well, and then we mix it up obviously with our zone of whether who's up top and who's on the wing. So those three will always rotate, probably guarding our point guard more than anybody else.
You've talked before about kind of rewarding experience and playing guys who are experienced. You know, in a college basketball now with, you know, quote unquote the year of the freshman, as some media have kind of hyped it as. Do you feel like that's unusual, and why do you kind of see experience as an especially important thing?
As far I don't understand what's your question?
Just in terms of, you know, valuing experience as much as you do, what's important about having guys in the lineup?
Freshmen don't change regardless of what media label them. They're still freshmen, and the experience that they have or don't have as far as freshmen just don't have the experience. For instance, we're going to Boulder and we're going to Salt Lake City. The freshmen that we have on our team are no different than the freshmen any other. They've never done that. They've never been on these road trips. They've never experienced Pac-12 games or Pac-12 road trips. And if you look at, for instance, the two freshmen that we have playing, you know, there are not a lot of freshmen that have been any more consistent with their minutes and doing the things that they're doing for their team than what our two freshmen are doing. So it's kind of hard to say, okay, now let's just change things up with them. You know, Norman Powell's a guy that's played more games of anybody at UCLA right now. So that experience is invaluable because he's been in the wars. He's been on a Pac-12 championship team. He understands that. So you always want your experienced guys to understand that and lead by example and help those young guys. And I think we've had a really good starting group with a good bench that's understood that, and the young guys are learning every game. And with that, I think you see that. There's games where Zach ends up playing more minutes than Norman, probably more times than not. So it's just where the minutes come and how they come and in what level they come. I've never put a whole lot on whether it's starting or those type of things. It's really the ebb and flow of the game. And right now, the way we've rotated, I've really liked the rotation we have.
Have you always tried to rely on a more experienced lineup?
I've always played freshman, and I'm playing freshman again this year. So I've always played freshman.
Do you need more from David and Travis? Either
I thought they were terrific in this last game. I thought Trav started getting back to doing some things that we need for him to do in pick and pop and offensively. And I thought if we, after grading our tape, the best defensive performance we had in that game, hands down, was David Ware. And that's what we got to have, you know, to get the defensive mindset going that we need to get going. We need those five-year guys to lead, and I thought they were really good defensively. They helped one another. They did the schemes that we wanted to do on the big fella, and I thought that was as big a part of anything of taking away that inside game that Arizona State's been so good at throughout the year.